Hi, Medford Family Network friends, and those friends who are watching. I'm Bernadette Kennedy, here for the MFN, and today we're going to be making chalk with eggshells. We've made chalk paint, and we made chalk with using plaster of Paris, and today we're making chalk with eggshells. This is going to be interesting. We have what we did is we made a form last time when we were making plaster of Paris using the plain hollow toilet paper tubes. And by putting the duct tape on the bottom of them, so you couldn't do that, duct tape, you cover that. Then you take your wax paper or a sheet of parchment paper, roll it up, stick it inside the toilet tube, like that. And then what you do is you cut down or you fold down, here, bend this up a little bit. We fold down the edges so when you put in your mixture for your chalk, it's easier to go in and doesn't go in between the cardboard and your paper. So there's your empty tube, and that's what we're going to put in to make our chalk form. And when we made it with the plaster, the chalk, and we dried it and took it out, as a matter of fact, I have one right here. You take it out, and it's like that. And this is what your form will be. This is what we made last time. Well, I really take this one good. And becomes out your big chalk piece. It's harder than it looks. There you go. You peel it off, and it gets made their own chalk. Nice big chunky pieces of chalk. There you go. Good. Now that's with the plaster, but hopefully the ones with the eggshells will be the same. So let's find out. By using that same form. Yes. Now you might want to do this. Now what we did last time is we mixed it in a plastic bag. I tried that. I think it would be better if you have a little baggie, but this one calls for mixing in the bowl. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the bowl first, because then maybe we can put it in and then they can use it as a pastry bag and kind of fill in your form. So this recipe calls for 5 empty eggshells that you washed and dried. So what I do is I generally save my eggshells anyway. When we're making eggs or whatever, I save the eggshells and I put them in a bag or rinse them and I just put them in a dry area or on my windowsill, if the cat doesn't knock it over. And then I save them because you can use the eggshells if you crunch them up. You can put them in your garden. It helps with the slugs. I put it on my lawn to help with the grass area, especially now with the dog is making a mess all over the place. Anyway, it does help. Also, I use it into the water to water my household plants. It helps great because it's the calcium that you're getting from the eggshell. So this recipe calls now that you do the 5 empty eggshells, cleaned and dry, like we said, and you put them in a bag. So we put them in the bag. Now I'm trying to make sure it's a whole eggshell. So if I have it in half, I'm counting those 2 halves as one. I'm assuming that. So that's your 5 eggshells. You're going to put them in, and you put them in thing. And then what you do is, then this is great for the kids. Now, if you have one different ages, you can let the air out or leave the air in and just let them crunch it. They can crunch it, and they can go at it like that for crunching. The other one is, now once they crunched it up, you want to get it into finer. They're looking, the recipe calls for a powder. So, and this is where the rolling pin comes in. Do a little rolling. So with this, you're going to take the rolling pin, and let me turn it down here a little bit. Okay, I think you can see that. And you're just going to let them crunch it and roll it and crunch it and roll it as fast as you can. Now you're trying to get this to be a fine powder. Problem is I could not get mine to a fine powder. I could get it to this part where it is chalky, and I have used, this is what I use for, as I said, in the garden or in my grass. But according to this recipe, they wanted it to be a powder. And they were saying to put it in a pestle and mortar. I found that very difficult, and that didn't work for me. So what I did do is, after I got it as fine as I could here, I put it in a blender, if you have a blender or a mixer. My son is the one who says, Mom, why don't you use this? And he has the NutriBullet, and there's an adapter that has ones that you can make into powder, and that's for your shakes and things like that. It's awesome. It worked out great. Now this, when I did it, this came out to a powder. So I took the rolling pin and crunched it as far as I could, and then I put it in here, and it came out to a really good powder. When you open it, there's like a little smoke all over the place. So it doesn't make a lot. I found the 5 eggshells. This is going to be interesting. Didn't seem to make a big batch, but it said to take. So you're having the 5 eggshells crushed as far as down to a fine powder. Then you're going to have a tablespoon of flour. And then I found, by playing around with it, I had to add 2 tablespoons of very hot water. So what I did is you want to boil the water. But then if you're giving it to the kids to do, you can either use measure it out and let them do a dropper. If you have a dropper, I don't have a dropper. So, or you just have them, you just take it yourself, and you're going to have the tablespoon of flour. I'm going to do a tablespoon of flour. Now this is a tablespoon of flour. Now putting it into the bowl. Okay, that's it. Or you can put it into this little baggie. Now that might be a better way for you to put a baggie, just so that you can see it better. I'm putting it in the bowl, but they do say put it in the bowl. So with that 1 tablespoon of flour, you use 2 tablespoons of very hot water. So with that, you can put it in a little pre-measured bowl, and they can add it. That would be the safest. But you want to do very hot water. So as you can see, it's can you see the steam on that thing? And I'm mixing 2 tablespoons of very hot water. And then I'm going to mix that. So you're going to mix this. And they said mix it to becomes a paste. That is becoming a paste, just like before. This kind of reminds me when we were doing the chalk paint, kind of thing. But so this is 1 tablespoon of flour, 2 tablespoons of really hot water. I use the boiling water. Now, yeah, nice paste. That's pretty good. That one works out better. Then they say you take a tablespoon of the powder of the eggshell. I'm going to take the powder. I'll try to get it in as best I can. That's my tablespoon. And it says to mix it in. So mix it in. Like I said, the utensils I only use for arts and crafts and the activity. And this is what they said to do, so that you're going to mix it to become a thick paste. Okay? And this one is much easier. I had to play around with the recipe because the one that I found online just wasn't working. So I played with it, and what I found so far is by adding the 1 tablespoon of flour, 2 tablespoons of boiling water, and then I mix it. And then you put the tablespoon of the eggshell powder. This one you could use food coloring. So I'm going to use green. I'm going to have the green. And we're going to put, it says only 1 to 2 drops. I'm going to put 2. And we do 1, 2. There we go. And mix that up and let the kids mix. There again, if you put this in your baggie, you can put it in the baggie and let them watch it mix it. So I'm mixing. Let's push this down a little bit again. Now I'm mixing this up. There you go. My grandkids are going to have a lot of chalk when they come up to visit. I'm going to use my little mixer. Where's my little? I had a small one. That seems to be doing it better. I want to get it in there and mix it too. It kind of looks like frosting, doesn't it? But you can smell the eggshells and mix it in that. Now, what we did before is I did pour some into, when you have it this way, you can still use your form like you did, and you can pour it in because the cardboard is going to absorb the water like they did for when I ripped off the first one, okay? So, as I said, you can use the bowl or you can use it in the baggie. And I put one in the baggie, I did one prior. So you can see, that's why I said the little baggie is probably much better. So I only had the big, I had the one little bag and I don't love the big bag. So with this, you could just mix it. You trim the end off and you let them pour it in. What I did find was something interesting is that it seemed to be make a lot. It didn't make a lot. That doesn't seem to be a lot. So what I'm going to try to do is I have these Star Wars forms, the ice cube trays. Now I have this one and I have the long skinny one. Now, just for fun, because my grandsons love Star Wars, I'm going to do the Star Wars. Now with that, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to move the camera down a little bit more again. Excuse my mess. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to pour it into the mold. Just like in Star Wars. You can let them put that in there. We're pouring it in. Like I said, I'm going to get a couple of the little ones. I don't think I'm going to get a big one. Or maybe I should have just done the big one, but and I'm going to pour it in there. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did the other ones. I'm going to let it set out and dry. And you want to let it dry in the sun. It might be a couple of days, or it should at least be a day. We're going to take this and I'm going to try to get it in all those things right there. Looks like I'll get a couple of them out. Now this one was just with the 5 eggshells. So you did 5 eggshells. You did a tablespoon of flour. And you did 2 tablespoons of really hot water. And that one doesn't look like it's going to go. Let's see if I can put it in here. I don't think there's enough in there. Yeah, it's an experiment, right? That's an experiment. So it looks like for those 5 eggshells, I'm going to get maybe, the 5 little ones out of that. I'm going to try to scrape off as much as I can to get in there. But if you're having the kids do it, that's what's maybe a lot easier by using the baggie and putting it in. Because by doing this and having the eggshell, let's try it. Remember, you're going to cut off the edge like a pastry. Now this one I'm going to fill in. See how much I get in here. I'm not sure I'm going to get enough, but like I said, I enjoy doing this because it lets me experiment. Like I said, I like doing this stuff, and my grandkids like it. My daughter's really good at doing all this kind of stuff with her kids. Well, that almost did the big ones. That one also was out of the 5 eggshells. So with that, I'm going to try to get as much as I can in here and see how that works. So that's the one from the mold. If you do it for a mold, there again, 5 eggshells. This is really, I did 5, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit. The other 5 went in here. That one I put in the baggie. So it doesn't make a lot like the plaster does, or the baking soda and water and the food coloring to make your chalk paint. But this one, I think I did a couple of batches, so it doesn't fill up as much. But it's worth a shot. What we'll do is we'll have to let this dry, and I'll let this dry, and then we'll open them and find out how well they work. Or if you're going to do it, go ahead and try it and let me know. I'd love to see your pictures. If you could do pictures with your chalk that you've made and send it to us at the MFN, Medford Family Network, we could put it up on our website, or if you want us to share your pictures that you made with the chalk that you made with us. There again, let's go over. This is made from eggshells. Your 5 empty eggshells, clean and dried. Crunched. Mush them up as best you can. And do as closest to a powder as you can. And you want to get that into a powder if you can. You're going to have some chunks because you can feel it. When you put it in the bag, and you put it in the bag for the kids to mix up, you can feel the texture. You can feel it's gritty and grainy. And then you can add your different colors. So you're going to do the 5 eggshells, cleaned and washed. You're going to crunch them up. You're going to crunch them up. You're going to roll them up. You're going to, as fine as you can get it, and roll it and roll it. Remember, you're going to do it really, roll that baby. You're going to roll it. And you can get it pretty close to a really pretty good fine powder. You know, and like I said, I've done them before and I get it into this consistency. It's kind of flaky. But if you then have a NutriBullet, put it in your NutriBullet, blend it up, and it becomes an awesome powder. It's an awesome powder. And with that, it's easier to measure and make. So then you can take your tablespoon of flour, 2 tablespoons of your boiling water. Mix it up to be a paste. If you have the little baggies like this, stick them in there and let them feel it. That is cool. I did that with the big bag. And you can feel it, and you can feel the granules. Let them open it up. And then you put the other eggshell, the powder eggshell. Close it up again. Let them mix it up like that. And then you can pull it out like we did with the pastry bag. Cut the hole in it, you know, and let them squeeze it in. If you have some old ice cube trays that you don't use anymore, that's here. Or maybe even here. It really doesn't take long. It's just, it's the experimenting. It did take me a little while, and I realized that the directions I found on the internet, or I don't know if it was Pinterest, one of those I was looking for, they had the wrong amounts. So by me playing around with that, I was able to come up with a consistency that is more like making the chalk and letting it dry. And that's it. I'll show you next time. I'll try to take a picture, and after this dries a couple of days, or maybe it's a day, I don't know. I'll draw you a picture and see if you can come back and see if you find a picture on your walks around Medford. And if you do, that's great. If you do a picture with chalk on your sidewalk, send us a message. Maybe Mom and Dad could take a picture of it and send it to us, and we can put it up and share it, just so that we all are still connected and to know that we are all in this together. Love ya, and we'll see you real soon. Take care. Let's see, what can we make next time? Got any ideas? Let me know. Let Miss Marie know what you want to see to be made. What can we make next? How about some bubbles? You know those big bubbles that Miss Cindy would make at Teddy Bear Picnic? I think I have a recipe. Let's see if we can make a big bubbles mixture. We'll do a bubble potion. So next time I'll catch you, and we'll see what we are going to do next time. Bubbles.